What's up, Ravens fans? Welcome into a pre-free agency edition of Ravens Unscripted. We've got Garrett, Cliff here, and Ryan to sort through some of the big decisions facing this organization ahead of free agency March 13th at 4 p.m. Let's see who's trending up and down. All right, fellas, we sorted through some of these names the last time we met on this couch, so want to sort of see where you stand on them again here with some more information heading into, again, March 13th. And we'll start with C.J. Mosley. The odds of him being back on this roster through free agency or pre-free agency, up or down? Wow, downs across the board. I'll give you the first shot at this, Ryan, because on the surface, I think a lot of us that don't know this team as well as you guys do would be surprised because of how much they value C.J. Mosley.
Yeah, both sides have made it clear that they want a long-term marriage here. It's not shocking that they didn't franchise C.J., but I think the general feeling that probably all of us are getting is the closer that he gets to hitting the open market, the higher the chances are of some other team paying him more than the Ravens offer. I expect that the Ravens will or already have made C.J. Mosley a very competitive offer because they want to keep him. That is genuine. This isn't a guy where they're like, yeah, we kind of want to keep him, and they don't actually make an offer. I think for C.J., they'll be in the game. But once he hits that market, which is only a few days away, and now at this point, he and his agent are probably saying, let's see what other offers are out there. There's no sense in signing early. Once you get there, any team with a lot of cap space, the Cleveland Browns, the 49ers, whoever it is, can probably, potentially, top the Ravens offer if they really want him.
I'm not ruling out, sorry, Cliff, I'm not ruling out the possibility of CJ returning. I definitely think that's still very much on the table. The reason I say that it's trending down is because CJ Mosley's been a guy that the Ravens knew they wanted to extend for really the last 2 years. Like, this isn't all of a sudden, oh my gosh, CJ Mosley's going to be coming up on
just
free agency.
He's a good player.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knew that, and the longer this process goes, you start to wonder, what's the issue? I mean, there was talk of them trying to work out a contract extension before last season. Obviously, CJ played it out. So now as you get to free agency, like you mentioned, he may go test the market, see what else is out there. The time here, to me, is the reason that I think that is trending down.
And I think this should be said, and it's probably understood by everyone watching and listening. This is just our opinion as speculative fans of football and this organization and just playing the guessing game. So next up, Terrell Suggs. Up or down? The obvious face of this defense for so many years being back for what might be a discount, who knows? All right, up across the board. So positivity here. Cliff, we didn't hear from you on Mosley, so we'll let you get first crack at Suggs.
Well, I mean, based on the comments that Eric DeCosta made about Terrell at the Combine, that how important he is, not only as a player, but chemistry-wise in the locker room, his knowledge, the way he mentors other players. The fact that pass rusher is so important. We don't know about Zadarius Smith. He might be a loss, obviously, in free agent at that position. Yeah, I mean, he's still, I think the Ravens value him as an important player and person in the organization. And you know Terrell Suggs wants to finish his career here. I mean,
that to me is more important than anything for you guys too to chime in on. It's more to me about what Suggs recognizes. Is he trending more up or down on taking what might be perceived as a hometown discount?
Here's what I think Terrell Suggs knows. He can be himself here in Baltimore. And that may not necessarily, that whole thing may not necessarily translate if you go and play somewhere else. Like, he has built his persona here, and I think that is very much tied to this team and this organization. And I think when you're a guy going into your 17th season, it's important to have that. And I think that you have that in Baltimore. I would expect him to be back.
I would honestly say that for C.J. Mosley as well. Not so much maybe the personality side, but his value here, I think, would be higher for the organization.
And it still might be, Evan.
Yeah,
it still might be.
It still might be. All right, Jimmy Smith, another guy that's been a big part of this defense, somebody this organization invested high in the draft a number of years ago. All right, down, up, and down. Mink, I'll let you start.
Well, I think this is impacted by re-signing Tavon Young and Eric DeCosta at the Combine saying that he expects that Brandon Carr will be back. So now, assuming that he's correct and Brandon Carr is back, you have Brandon Carr, Marlon Humphrey, and Tavon Young. You have your top three cornerbacks right there. Jimmy Smith becomes really a luxury. To me, it was almost between...
Expensive luxury.
A very expensive luxury. It was between Brandon Carr and Jimmy Smith to me. The Ravens are going to have to make a decision there. And clearly, DeCosta expects Brandon Carr between the two.
Well, the reason why I feel differently is I don't look at Jimmy as a luxury because of that position and how important it is. I think that, he's a very good football player. The financial part obviously may have to be worked out.
Because he's actually not a free agent.
He's not a
right.
free agent.
This is a talk. We're discussing now the
has a
idea of
really high
restructuring
salary, yeah.
his
Right,
salary or
right.
just paying him what he's owed technically.
Right, but if they can work that part out, I do think that Jimmy Smith, the Ravens never want to get in a position where if a corner gets hurt, then all of a sudden they're in trouble. And they have more depth at that position last year. I think that's one of the reasons they were the league's #1 ranked defense, because of the secondary depth, particularly a corner. They could play so many different coverages, not have to blitz, or had the luxury of blitzing and leaving those guys alone. Jimmy Smith is a very valuable player. If he's not with the Ravens, he's going to be somewhere else playing football. And the fact that he is not the most durable guy.
That's what he knows that.
Right.
Jimmy Smith knows, I
Right.
think, that his value on the open market, if he were to get cut, is not going to be low. So I don't know that he's going to be in the business of taking pay cuts.
Okay, last up, John Smoke Brown, an intriguing player because of what he did early last year, then the shift to Lamar Jackson, his numbers went in the tank, but there's some thought maybe, guys, as we reveal the Microsoft Surface tablets. Cliff's doing some math on the side there. All right, you're good.
Cliff was calculating his receiving numbers of Lamar.
He was doing some contract
Combine
work
expenses,
on the
baby.
side. Good. All right, keep them up. Hold on. We got up, and down. So
Yeah.
so Garrett, you don't see you're seeing the trending of the numbers affecting his value here as a free agent.
Well, here's the thing. I think that Smoke Brown's production certainly went down in the second half of last season once Lamar Jackson took over as the starting quarterback. I think the Ravens want to go young. We spent a lot of time talking about which rookies the Ravens will draft in this year based on the combine. I think that's the direction they're going, rather than try to bring back a guy who didn't have a ton of production once Lamar moved into the starting lineup.
Yeah, the only reason that I say up is Eric DeCosta's comments at the combine caught my attention. I was like, all right, that was a little stronger. You have to read between the lines with these GMs
Yeah, I was
talking
gonna
like,
say,
that was a little more than I had anticipated in that answer about his love for Smoke Brown and how he's a good practice player and, he wants to bring back good players. So that's why I say trending up, but I would still add that I would say it's less likely than likely that the Ravens re-sign John Brown.
What is very likely is we'll be right back here on the couch tomorrow to discuss some possible free agents the Ravens could bring in when free agency hits next week.